why Robby should win the Sekai Taikai in Season 6. Welcome everybody to another video of mine. Now before I go any further, I do want to preface this video by saying, because it's just the norm, if you've been subscribed to me for any length of time, you know this. Another Robby! Yeah, okay. Get it all out your chest. I do want to preface this video by saying that if the trophy doesn't go to Robby, I'm not going to be butthurt and crying in the corner like a little baby, because whoever does win it, it will be earned, it will be a good story reason, and, you know, when you look at the story of Cobra Kai through the landscape of, yes, trophies are great and they're uplifting and they're powerful, a character is not defined by a trophy. That's what's really been hammered home by the show many times before. So, if, for instance, Miguel is to win the trophy, that would make sense, because it brings the show right back to the beginning. He was the first student, he was the one that started it all, and it brings it full circle for Daniel and Johnny, with Miguel winning it. And he is the new age Karate Kid, so it only makes sense. If Hawk is to win it, judging on how Season 5 treated Hawk, I don't see it happening, but we've seen it happen before with Season 4, so you never know. And they did put the nugget of information out there that, you know, during the Sekai Taikai qualifier, where Eli and Sam are having a little conversation, briefly, and Eli says maybe one day we'll both win. That could be a setup for Eli and Sam to both win on the grandest stage of them all. Now, for those who may ask, who do I think will win the girls' division? I've talked about this at length. It's going to be Sam. Like, it just, again, it only makes sense that Sam wins on the grandest stage of them all. She's Daniel's daughter. Like, come on. So, really and truly, the only one that's really up in the air is the boys' division, at least in my opinion. And I think the reason I want Robby to win it, more so, is not just because he's been in the final twice and lost twice. You know, Miguel even hammered it home to him, ready when you are runner-up. Like, I mean, come on. Looking at it from symbolism, just a symbolic standpoint, it makes so much sense for Johnny to bring Cobra Kai back and his own blood, his son, to get rid of it. That is powerful. That is very powerful. You can call me a Robby fanboy, call me what you will. At the end of the day, fanboyisms and these buzzwords do not trump storytelling and symbolic meaning. Robby winning the Sekai Taikai brings everything full circle. We've had Robby's anti-hero arc in Season 1 and 2, we've had his villain arc in Season 3 and 4, and now we're in his hero arc. It's time to stop the wishy-washy. It's time to have Robby as a full-on hero now. And I think this is the moment you do it. This is the moment that you pull the trigger. I think Robby this season is not necessarily defined by a trophy, but I think it uplifts him. Him winning the trophy with now his family. He's got a brother in Miguel. He's got his dad. He's got a mum in Carmen. He's got his other mum with Shan. Like, it brings it full circle for Robby. And another nugget of information that I want to hone in on is when Chosen was explaining how him and Daniel used to fight back in the original trilogy. Chosen said, your father was fighting for, I was fighting against. In every single tournament and fight, Robby has been fighting against. In Season 1, he was fighting against his father. In Season 4, he was fighting against his father, Sam, Miguel, Daniel. He was fighting against all of them. Now he's fighting for. And I think that it has so much emotional payoff to have there be an opponent in Sensei Kim's dojo that is so ruthless and bad to the bone that it takes Miguel, Eli, and Robby to wear them down. Like, you don't make Miguel lose cheaply, you don't make Eli lose cheaply, you just have there be a stone-cold killer in that dojo that is brutal, like a Mike Barnes level threat. And you get to a point where you look back on the nuggets of information we've gotten throughout the show. Terry Silver even says to Robby, you know, first you trained at Miyagi-Do, now Cobra Kai, soon you'll have enough skills to kick all our asses. Like, I mean, that's another setup right there. Then there's another setup when Robby in Season 5, Episode 9, when Robby walks into the dojo by himself, just on his ones, and confronts Terry Silver with no fear. That, to me, screams the guy who's gonna win it. Because he's determined. His determination, right now, is at an all-time high. And I think, when you look at it from how much characters have fucked up, Robby has the most to make up for. Like, I know I've done Robby videos galore explaining why he's done the things he's done and how it led to that. And not using it as vindication or justification, but how it got to that point. When you look at it like that, Robby winning the Sekai Taikai, that's a redemption. That brings it full circle. That redeems kicking Miguel over the balcony. That in a sense, I'll say. That redeems what he did to Hawk. That redeems what he did to his former Miyagi-Do students. That redeems what he was trying to do to Johnny. That redeems everything for his character. And then it births him into a new era, and Chosen is just in the wings. Who can relate, as I've always said, who's the one person that can relate to Robby's story the most out of all the senseis? That's Chosen. I would love some dialogue between these two. I was hoping we would get it in Season 5, but there was so much going on that we didn't. But with Season 6, I think there'll be a focus specifically on the Sekai Taikai. Now, this is what I wanted for Season 4. More of a direct focus to the All Valley, and, well, we didn't quite fully get that all the way. I've talked about that a lot. But with the Sekai Taikai, I want there to be a determination from Robby to prove that he is all that, and then some. See what I did there? Because he's all that. Yeah, it's just a little pun. But I think, you know, if Robby doesn't win it, then fine. You know, I'm sure whoever wins it, it's going to be earned. But I just feel like it's time. It's time to give my boy his shine. Like, come on. He's had 3 finals, and he's lost twice. He's lost twice. And I think, yes, Miguel is the new age Karate Kid by definition. But as we've seen in this show, right, with Eli winning, it didn't mean much. Like Eli winning was symbolic and meant a lot to him, but Miguel's journey was separate from that. So we've seen it before, where the trophy will not be specific to one person depending on what that person's going through in that moment. Who knows? Maybe Miguel's father could factor back into the fold, and maybe that throws him off balance, especially with the type of man that Hector is. And also, I want to shout out to my brother RJ, that I do streams with on the Kings of Pop Culture, a little plug for this weekend. He made a great point. Robby wins the Sekai Taikai, and Miguel wins the fight outside. That's how I would personally play it, is Miguel wins the fight outside. And it doesn't mean that this is the end of the show forever. You can have the show go on for much longer if you wish. But I just feel like we're at a point now where it's time to give Robby his due. Robby has never lost convincingly in my eyes. He's never convincingly lost. To Miguel, yeah, you can make that case. To Eli, you can, even in Season 1, you could make a case for Robby winning that. It took Hawk to injure his shoulder to put Robby out of commission. Now, Robby did have that Miyagi-Do sort of plot buff, but by and large, Robby could have easily won that. He was fighting Miguel with one arm. And lest we not forget the feats that Robby has done. Like, do I even need to mention the fact that this guy took on an entire dojo by himself, right? Without receiving a single hit. 10 people. Like, that's not something you can just sweep under the rug. That's important. That's important information. Vice versa with Miguel when he's beating the crap out of all the Cobra Kai students when Kenny does the silver bullet to Robby. It's the same thing. So, regardless of who wins, it will be earned. I'm sure we'll all love it. It will be an emotional payoff. But I feel like having a Lawrence and a LaRusso win on the grandest stage of them all brings the show full circle. And I love Miguel to death, but I'm talking a proper Lawrence. Robby Lawrence. Like, Lawrence, Sam LaRusso on the grandest stage of them all, winning. Like, it brings Daniel and Johnny's arc full circle back to the beginning. Their bloodline characters, their kids, are winning on the grandest stage of them all. That closes the book for Johnny and Daniel, in my opinion. And if the show is to end in Season 6 or 7, then you can pick up 10 years down the line, and you could continue without Johnny and Daniel. Like, you could literally do that because you've passed the torch. That's what I'm talking about. It's that emotional payoff that we really need. The show's got to build to some kind of climatic ending, especially for this particular part of the saga, before it gets repetitive. And I feel like we're at a point where, again, a Lawrence and a LaRusso winning on the global stage speaks volumes. That drives everything home. That brings everything full circle. And that way, Miguel has a trophy. Eli has a trophy. Robby has a trophy. Now, you could say, well, Miguel deserves to win again. For sure. Miguel may have the rising champion arc. He may win it again. You never know. As I said, it started with him. It would still be good for him to win either way because it brings it full circle back to the beginning of the show. But I just feel like with the context of the way that the last few seasons have played out, I feel like Robby is kind of owed this one. You know, even Tanner himself said it. Why is he not winning again when he saw the Season 4 script? And if you know, you know, Robby was meant to win in Season 4. And they changed it. So, I'm just saying they might have changed it for a good reason to save it for the Sekai Taikai. I'm just saying. Guys and girls, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you agree with any of the points I've raised. And thank you for tuning into another video of mine. 8K is on the horizon. I will see you all in another video very, very soon. Take care.